We sometimes hear horror stories of tenants from hell, giving sleepless nights to landlords. Getting good tenants and making sure they stay problem-free is not only luck. There's a systematic approach to sourcing tenant and management to have a worry-free tenancies. In this video, I will share the top 5 landlord mistakes that will help you avoid costly mistakes and have a headache-free tenancy. Hi everyone, I'm Khai. Welcome back to my channel. We sometimes hear horror stories about tenants that cause landlords to spend more than what they should, or enter into frustrating arguments and sometimes even went to court because the tenancy was not managed properly from the start, or the tenant profile was not screened properly. Throughout the early years of my career, I went through many tough experiences learning from both other people's and my own mistakes. And many times, I used my own money to make things right. I hope to share these experiences with you so that you can also avoid these painful mistakes. Therefore, I'm making this video to share the top 5 mistakes landlords make, so that property investors out there like yourself can learn how to secure a worry-free tenancy. Mistake number 1. Some landlords assume tenants will always pay on time and did not check if the rental comes in every month. Landlords need to check rental payment on time every month because some tenants will run away if they owe too many months and they can't pay up. Attention should also be put to the last few months of the tenancy, where some tenants quietly think they don't pay rent and use a deposit to offset rental. Deposit is for a landlord to hold and offset any rectifications if the tenant did not do a proper job when returning the units. It is very difficult to ask the tenant to cough up money from their own pockets to rectify the problem, versus just deducting the cost from the deposit. Mistake number 2. Most landlords allow tenants to drill holes in the walls to hang pictures without making sure that tenants will reinstate properly. If not handled carefully, this might cause the landlord to pay money to reinstate the wall. Sometimes, tenancy agreements are not very clear on how to reinstate the wall. I heard one case from my colleague where the tenants just paint over the small area where the nails are removed, and the colour of the paint do not totally match the paint colour of the wall. The landlord sought advice from his own lawyer, and the lawyer said that they did not specify what paint colour to use. So the tenant need not make sure that the colour of the patches totally match the wall colour. So a solution is to ensure that from the start, the agreement is such that the tenant is obligated to reinstate the wall to the original condition without leaving ugly, non-matching paint patches. Mistake number 3. Allow tenants to use their helper or hourly cleaners to perform handover clean at the end of the tenancy. A professional handover clean is a very extensive deep cleaning of the house, where even the hood has to be scrubbed of oil stain and glass panel clean, etc. Often, helpers and hourly cleaners do not understand the width and depth of the job requirements. A professional handover clean often requires at least 2 experienced persons to clean the house for 3/4 of a day. This is just for a normal 3-bedroom house. My experience is that if the job is left to a helper or normal hourly cleaner, they can't do a proper job, and we will have to get professional handover cleaners to redo the job. So the earlier effort and money spent by the tenant is wasted, and the handover will be delayed, and this might affect the next incoming tenants. Mistake number 4. Landlord is too soft-hearted and give low rents. Tenants may take for granted the low rent is their right, and when landlord wants to increase the rent to match the market rates, some tenants argue that they have been good tenants for a long time, and it is bad for the landlord to increase too much, when actually the landlord just wants to be treated fairly and get the market rates. Furthermore, if the owner wants to sell, a low rental yield is a deterrent for higher sale price. No matter what we say about the market price and how they can ask for a market price next time, this is a problem, because this forms a negative impression that the property might have problems that the seller do not want to share. Any doubt always harms the chance of selling a property at a good price. So, I always caution my owners whenever they want to be nice and give low rents to tenants. Mistake number 5. Calculate rental yield based on the purchase price instead of the current market selling price. Let's take an example. An owner bought a property 10 years ago at $1 million. Now, the market price has risen to $2 million. He is getting a rental of $3,000 a month. If he used the purchase price to calculate rental yield, he will get 3.6% rental yield, which sounds good, and will think that his property is working well for him. However, if he used the current market selling price to calculate the rental yield, he will get 1.8%, which is very low. The risk is that he might think the property is performing very well, but in actual fact, a low rental yield means there's potentially a problem. Whether he is undercharging the rent, or whether the property is non-performing, and he might have to consider swapping to a better property. Only when he knows that there is a problem, that he will try to identify the problem to solve it. Sometimes, I might seem harsh to tenants, but I feel that I'm just being fair, as a tenancy is an agreement by 2 equal parties, the landlord and the tenant. It is not like staying in a hotel, where the guest is king, and a lot of leeway in the name of good service. Both tenants and landlords have obligations spelled in the tenancy agreement, and they have to abide by them. All these are knowledge gained over years of experience, and hitting my head on the wall many times. And sometimes, I even pay from my own pocket to settle problems. If you want to find out more about how you can secure worry-free tenants and get high rental return, do reach out and we can have a chat. Once again, I'm Khai. See you soon.